What's good, everybody? The Washington Wizards signed Michael Foster Jr. to an Exhibit 10 contract. The Charlotte Hornets waive Kai Jones. Deni should be ready to roll tomorrow night, and then we're going to do a preview on that game next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I'm here with my co-host, the real Ed Oliver. And we appreciate you guys being your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more right now. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. So we're going to start out. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Obviously, Kai Jones was waived by the Charlotte Hornets. So should the Wizards take a look at him? Michael Foster Jr. was signed to an Exhibit 10. Deni should be ready to roll tomorrow night against the Hornets. And then we're going to do a preview to round out tonight. So starting out, Michael Foster Jr. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think he adds depth to the center position, or do you think we need to make another move for the center position?
I think he does give a little bit of depth. He may still play for the Go-Go and not much for the Wizards, since we just have a lot of guys. We desperately need a big man, and he's 6'9", so we just need somebody. I think it doesn't matter. Like, sometimes, guys can play bigger than their size, but I do think we need some guys with more wingspan, like a 7-footer down there, because we just don't have a big man that kind of just has a dominant presence. Gaff can do it sometimes, but just consistently and just providing that physicality, that post presence. I just don't think we have a lot of guys there. We just don't have a lot of depth at the big man position at all. And I don't think Michael Foster, he's still in a developmental phase. I think he's going to be on the G League roster because I found something on the trade, like the G League team, they traded for his rights as well. Yeah, the tweet from the Capital City Go-Go says, the Go-Go have agreed to trade the returning player rights to Isaiah Mucius, a 2024 first-round draft pick, and a 2023 second-round pick in the NBA G League draft to the Delaware Bluecoats in exchange for the returning player rights to Michael Foster Jr. So he's on Exhibit 10, so I do think he's going to get some time, with the G League team. It kind of reminds me of having Vernon Carey on the roster or Jaime Echenique. I do think Foster can do a little bit more offensively. Like, he can put the ball on the floor a little bit. He can cross guys up. He can shoot a three. He didn't shoot the ball well with the Delaware Bluecoats, the G League team. They actually won the G League championship last year as well. He shot 22%. Just looking up some of the numbers, because I'm not going to act like I fully know about Michael Foster Jr. I did see him play with the G League Ignite a few years back as well. But he averaged 13 points a game, 6.8 boards a game, shot 22% from the three-point line, which is not good at all. But, I mean, he's a solid scorer, 2.1 blocks a game as well. So he blocks shots. He runs the floor. Doesn't play above the rim, but he can finish around the rim pretty well. He's pretty crafty. He's a smooth, big guy. And the G League website lists him at 6'8", 250. So he's still going to be undersized if he is playing center. Yeah. You got your Joel Embiid of the world, 7 feet, 7'1". Rudy Gobert, 7'1". Steven Adams about 6'11". Giannis Valanciunas about 6'11". Vucevic about 6'11". So all these guys got 3. Anthony Davis 6'11". So Porzingis with the Celtics now 7'3". So all these guys are going to have about 3 inches of height on him, so they can just easily shoot the ball over him. He's got to play with physicality, but I think it's good because we didn't even have a guy that we didn't even have a center to develop. Like, we didn't have a Vernon Carey, we didn't have any guy on our G League roster that you look at from the big man spot really that we have coming up in the wings. And that was most concerning too, that we just didn't have any developing bigs at all. It was just Gafford, and that's it. And you got Gallo, who's going to be playing at the 5, and Muscala's going to be playing at the 5. So I think it's a good signing. I definitely think they could have been a little bit more aggressive earlier in the offseason. There were so many young guys. We talked about Bol. We talked about Neemias Queta. There's just a plethora of guys that were out there that could have been signed. So I like the signing. They showed some clips of him in practice shooting the ball today. I like his shooting form. I like the touch. So I want to see him tomorrow. I want to see how he does tomorrow if he does play.
Yeah, I agree on all points, man. I think that he's great for depth for the organization. He can play a little bit of ball. He's definitely still a developmental piece. But, you know, we know how Amber Nichols and company, how they do over there at Capital City Go-Go. They're going to get him right. They're going to get him ready that if we need him to come up here and contribute significant minutes, he can. You know, because I have a lot of faith in the Capital City Go-Go with their ability to bring people up to play significant minutes. So I think he'll be all right. But he definitely has to be developed. But I think it's a good signing for depth. Again, Kai Jones, a gentleman who can play some ball, but man, he started calling people out on the Charlotte Hornets, man. Thinking so he was formally waived today by the Charlotte Hornets. So looking at, you know, we were just talking about the lack of depth at the center position. Do you think that he's a candidate to come over here to the Wizards? And if you do you think, I mean, where do you think he is in the pecking order as far as the center position?
No, we know how Ted Leonsis is, and he doesn't want any guys with any type of past, any type of controversy, anything that is not. I'm not going to say like, you know, I'm going to just say you have to have a squeaky clean resume, and that's it. You know, so you cannot have anything that is out of the ordinary with you, or any trouble or any trouble past. Tommy, I mean, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to say Tommy Shepard. I hate that I said that. But Ted Leonsis, I will never make that mistake again. But Ted Leonsis does not want any guys with trouble past at all, or going through any trials or tribulations. So I don't think they'll make a move on him at all. It's unfortunate what's going on with him. Former first-round pick, so talented. So athletic, and he had a good summer league. Like, he played really well. Oh, and Michael Foster Jr., he had a really good summer league as well. He had 17 points in a game in the summer league, so he played really well. He was a McDonald's All-American. Just looking at some background on him, Delaware Blue Coats won the championship with them. McDonald's All-American in a Jordan Brand Classic, and his senior year in high school, he averaged 32 points a game and 18 boards a game. That's insane numbers. Right there. I get it's high school, but that's insane numbers. 32 points, 18 boards a game. That's insane. But back to Kai Jones, you look at some of his tweets, and I want to say some TikToks as well. He's like just dancing and sweating and just doing random things. And then, you know, he's saying he's the greatest of all time. He requested a trade on Twitter, which is actually a fine if you do that. It's against the rules to request a trade on Twitter. So he posted that. Then he posted some on Instagram. Terrence Ross was asking, was like, is everything okay with this guy? And Kai Jones replied, he was like, yeah, just watch my highlights. I'm the greatest of all time. And then Terrence Jones was like, okay, so no, not everything's not okay with this guy. So yeah, I really want to see Kai Jones do right. And the Hornets, they just had a lot of tough and troubles with the guys they've drafted in the past. Miles Bridges getting arrested again. James Bouknight was arrested. So the Hornets have definitely gone through it with some of their guys.
You know, I'm 50-50 on this, man, because I get it. Taylor Johnson is not big on guys with troubled past, but I am somebody who believes in second chances to a certain degree. You know, to a certain degree. You know, the NBA has a long list of guys who have had questionable past. Find the right coaching staff, they've ran them in, and they've been productive and led to championships. Dennis Rodman had a questionable past. You know, he came to the best situation in Chicago Bulls with a great coaching staff. They got him right. I mean, he went all the way right. I mean, he still had their moments, but I mean, Rasheed Wallace, the list goes on. You have guys who've had their injury, not injury, but, you know, troubled past. I think we have a coaching staff behind Wes Unseld that could they get him right? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't contribute anything more than a 1-year deal if they indeed would make that move. You know, to see if you can get him right, you know, get a contract where if you have any issues, you know, send him on his way. But I say I would be in favor of giving him a chance because he's got talent. Now, you know, he might have some things going on. Try to work with him. You know, I mean, he's a young guy. You know, mental health. Excuse me. Today I'm mental. I can't talk today, man. mental health is something that is serious now, man. You know, and there you go. So,
shout out to BetterHelp.
Yeah, shout out to BetterHelp, man. So mental health is an issue now, man, overall as a society, especially with this generation. So I would definitely see if you can at least try to help the guy out for 1 year. He's got talent. I mean, we need depth in the center position. I get it. Telling us is not a guy who really, he kind of shies away from guys that have, past that are questionable, whether it's, getting arrested or attitudes or, trouble in the locker room. But, that narrative, I mean, we've had players on the roster now that had a narrative. Everybody in the world was trying to tell us that Jordan Poole was this guy, a pest in the locker room. And then you got NBA legends coming out and saying, look, he's a guy who works hard. So maybe a change of series would help. I think he has a lot of talent. I think that if you can rein him in mentally and as far as, really getting on him, get coaches on him, build a work ethic, maybe you got something because he's got talent. I mean, he's a guy who could play at a high level. Now, him calling out people, going on Twitter. And look, he's not the only athlete right now dealing with, stuff on Twitter, man. I mean, especially, the NFL, we know what's that player for the Las Vegas Raiders? Because he was on the Instagram and he was crying.
Brown.
Nah, I mean, he's had his fair share, but man, what's his player? But there's a player on the Las Vegas Raiders that got waived where he was crying.
Chandler Jones.
There you go, crying on Instagram and all that.
Right,
It's just, I try not to shy away from mental health, man, because it's a real issue now. I get it, man. So I would try to help him out. I think he's got talent. I think, see what you can get out of him. 1 year deal, add consistencies, incentives in there and say, look, you trying to rein him in. So I'm in favor of maybe signing him. So we're going to move on. Looking at the Charlotte Hornets game, we're going to do a preview real quick of the Charlotte Hornets game. And Deni Avdija is ready to roll. But where does he fall as far as the rotation? Does he start or does he come off the bench? We're going to talk about that next. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $100 and bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $5 bet. And there's $200 in bonus bets. I mean, win or lose. I mean, this is a great deal. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in action than right now. The app is easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over and unders, and parlays, and much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the National Football League. And thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. Every day. Tomorrow we're going to do a recap, a live video like we always do, following the Charlotte Hornets preseason game. So definitely tune in because we're going to chop it up and have some fun. So looking forward, we have the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow night. But before we do a preview and what our hot takes are for that game, Deni Avdija, Turbo himself, should be playing. Now, this is a tough decision with Wes Unseld. If you look at the performance from Bilal Coulibaly, do you start Deni or do you still start Bilal? Where do you see Deni playing as far as rotation tomorrow night?
Yeah, if Deni plays, then he most likely will start. I would definitely start him if that's the plan going into the season. Now, I did throw out the option to start Corey Kispert, but either one I could see it happening because Deni would add more defense. You got a lot of offense. You see how high power the offense can be. Now, yes, it was the Canes, the Taiping Canes.
Yeah,
I'll just say the NBL team, which was just it really was just a scrimmage. It was really unfair. And I do think next year they may want to put some tougher competition on it. It's just preseason. I think this is good for their confidence, but it's hard to judge anything from this game because my goodness, I mean, it was just that team was they were just a lesser talent for sure than the Wizards. But yeah, I mean, I think you got enough offense, and I think Deni would come in and be a good defender for this team because you got to have balance. When training camp or before training camp, when we knew the roster was set after all the trades, trading Brad, trading Porzingis, trading Monte Morris, when you kind of knew what the roster was going to be, what the main guys were going to be, I wanted to start Corey. But looking at last night, because I think Tyus is really, really going to be able to push the pace and get guys open. I think you're going to have enough offensive firepower from Kuz, Poole, and Tyus. I think starting Deni may be your best bet, because you got to have some balance defensively. And Corey coming off the bench, you can just have that shooting, that scoring. And it doesn't matter who starts, it matters who finishes the game. But to answer your question, I know I went on a tangent, but I would start Deni. But it may take some time for him to just get his feet wet since he hasn't played in a little bit. But yeah, I would start Deni to start off and let Bilal come off the bench. Bilal would be one of the first guys to come off the bench, though.
Yeah, I agree, man. I would definitely start Deni, and I would definitely make Bilal the sixth man, the first man coming off the bench. So I agree on all points. Deni, we'll see where he's at, man, because I mean, looking at this NBL team, man. I mean, when you make the Wizards look like the Harlem Globetrotters, I'm just saying, like it was hard to watch as far as on this side, man. I mean, it was bad. So I mean, they were looking like the Washington Generals. So it was a tough one, man. But Charlotte Hornets, this is the first real NBA action for Bilal Coulibaly. So I'm very intrigued. Because if you look at overall, I'm an NBA fan overall. So I mean, there's a lot of young talent in this game that I really want to watch. Obviously Bilal Coulibaly, but Nick Smith Jr., Brandon Miller. There's a lot of names, young talent in this game that I want to see. So no, I agree on all points. I think Deni, because I think that Denny's going to be the starter at small forward going to the year, is because his defense is already there, man. He's proven that he can defend at a high level in the NBA. Bilal got a lot of potential, but he hasn't played officially against real NBA talent yet. So, Deni, I think, should definitely be the guy going into the regular season. And then we'll see. Getting to the deadline is a whole nother situation. Who's here, who's not. So, looking at the game tomorrow night, what is your prediction for a score and a winner? And what do you want to see from the Wizards on the offensive and the defensive side?
What I want to see, I just want to see. I'm really zoning in on Johnny again. I want to see how he does against actual NBA competition. I'm trying to look at the Hornets depth chart, but it's really weird on ESPN.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking for how Johnny Davis plays against actual NBA competition. The Hornets do have some quick guards. You brought up Nick Smith Jr. You brought up, they got LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier. He can be a pest at times. James Bouknight is injured. They're missing a lot of guys. They're missing a lot of people. A lot of people are injured, and that's why their depth chart looks kind of weird because Miles Bridges is suspended. They don't even have Kai Jones as a backup. So they actually don't have a lot of guys on their roster at this point. Amari Bailey, he's a young guard too. He's going to be going up against him. Frank Nicotilina is on the roster too. But just looking at our guys, I really want to see how Johnny Davis responds because Johnny Davis had a good game. So I want to see if he can continue that and play well and play with a lot of confidence. Once again, pushing the pace. This is something that Wes Unseld Jr. has really preached, or a lot of the guys have preached in the off season and on media day as well, and shooting a lot of threes, getting a lot of threes up. I want to see if they continue that. So just a lot of piggybacking on what they did last 2 nights ago, or really last night on Tuesday night, knocking down threes, running the floor. Bilal defensively, can he keep this up? I want to see him guard Brandon Miller. That's going to be a great rookie matchup right there. Brandon Miller 6'8", Bilal's about 6'6", 6'8". So I think that's a guy that would be a really good assignment for him. Gordon Hayward, I just don't know who's going to play for the Hornets because they got a lot of guys with some injury history, like Gordon Hayward. We talked about before we started, like he's barely available to ever play. So I want to see Bilal defensively. If Deni does play, I want to see what he improved on. Did he improve on handling the ball, like he talked about, knocking down the three ball, handling the ball with both hands, not just his right hand? Can he go left and finish with his left? Kuz and Poole just keep doing what they did. They're both going to score a bunch of points, but can they do it within the flow of the offense? Is going to be that my turn, your turn thing that they said they don't want it to be. Can they score within the flow of the offense? And I think Tyus can help keep these guys under control and make shots, make easy baskets for these guys. Gafford as well. He's going to be going up against Mark Williams, a young big man out of Duke. So he had a pretty good season last year. And then if LaMelo Ball, I want to see how they defend him as well. DeLon Wright most likely will be guarding him. Shamet, I don't expect him to play. Taj Gibson, I don't really expect him to play. Anthony Gill's going to be out because he got injured last game. And just the big man spot, again, Danilo Gallinari is a backup big. Basically naming everybody on the roster because I'm just intrigued to see everybody. I wish Pat Baldwin was healthy, but he's not. And Ryan Rollins, I like what he did last game. And then Eugene played well. So can he keep it up and keep doing what he was doing? Because he's like a bulldog out there. He really is he looks like an NFL player, and he's a strong young man. So I want to see if he can keep it up too, like he did last game.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Looking at the offensive side of the ball, put the running shoes on, man. I want to see them pushing the pace again. I think that was fun to watch. Tyus pushing the pace, really catching defenses off guard. Now, gifted the defense I don't think the defense even showed up. But it's gonna be intriguing how we do pushing the pace against another team who likes to push the pace. The Charlotte Hornets are a team. LaMelo can push. Terry Rozier can push. So, but I like to see again against an NBA team pushing the pace, really utilize the outside shooters, man. Because Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, man, wow. I mean, that the potential for what they can do on the wing, man, from the perimeter is scary because they're letting it loose and they look good, man. They look like they didn't look like the first game. They look very loose in that game, man. Like you said, the linebacker, man, I'm intrigued to see him play because that, I mean, brother man's big, man. I mean, that's a defensive tackle trying to play basketball.
Yes.
So I like to see him. But Bilal, I want to see the matchup between him and Brandon Miller. That's what I really want to see. I want to see him shut down Brandon Miller. Who's going to guard LaMelo? Like I said, I think DeLon's the guy because Jordan Poole, for all he can do in the offensive end, he's not there yet defensively. I think LaMelo, definitely put DeLon on him. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. First time out for this squad against another NBA opponent. It's going to be interesting. Defensive end. This is going to be the test. This is because we really find out now where they're at defensively. Because again, I don't want to kick somebody while they're down, man. But the NBL team just one of the best example of where we're at defensively. And like I said, they're a professional team. They're better than I am. So I mean, they have skills. So, but you're just it's NBA talent's a whole nother level. When you got the Wizards looking like the Globetrotters, man, then that's the big gap as far as talent. So Hornets is another young team where, like I said, they have similar play styles, but it's going to be intriguing, man. Because like you said, who do they start? Because Gordon Hayward's always hurt. He's made of paper. PJ Washington is another guy to kind of look out for because he can't shoot at a high clip, man. He can play some ball. Mark Williams and
Nick Richards, man. I forgot about Nick Richards. He cooks the Wizards every game.
Wizards killer, man. So, I don't know what motivates him. I don't know if he came to DC and they messed up his order of Ben's chili bowl. I don't know what's up, but he's always motivated playing against the Wizards. So it's a very intriguing young team to play against. And I think it's going to say, it's going to show us where we're at a little bit because again, we're kind of in the same position Charlotte is where we have young talent. We have, veterans here and there because, technically LaMelo Ball is a vet at this point, but so, I think that if I'm going to predict a win and a score, the Wiz win, and I'm going to say 107-98, the Wiz win.
Mm-hmm. And they got us on FanDuel as well. Shout out to FanDuel if you do want to put away. I actually want a bet on FanDuel for the Wizards beating the NBL team by more than 21 points. So the Wizards are actually favored in this game. It's another home game. They're favored by 1.5 minus 130. They don't have the over under in yet. And it really just depends on who the Hornets play. They got like we both brought up Nick Richards. They got another big man named James Najee. He's a rookie. I like him. I like him coming out. He's a very physical big. He's very athletic too. So we're gonna see how some of our guys play against him too. But yeah, if I had to do a prediction, it's hard for me to do this one. It really is. This one really is clearly a toss-up, but I do want to see how they defend LaMelo Ball, especially Tyus Jones going up against LaMelo Ball. And Terry Rozier is another Wizards killer too. But yeah, the big thing for me is just seeing the young guys. How does Bilal do? And I want to see him take some more shots offensively. I know his offensive game is going to come. His defensive game is going to be further ahead than his offensive game. But I want to see some play calls for him. I want to see him get a little bit more involved on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not saying he needs to shoot step back threes or anything like that, but I do want to see him get some touches this game. He didn't get him. He really just focused on the defensive side of the ball, which is fine. If he does that this year and he's a defensive specialist his rookie season and he's getting deflections, steals, dunks, all that, I'm perfectly fine with it. But the preseason, I feel like, is a time where you need to practice. And if you airball, who cares? Or if you make mistakes, who cares? I just want to see him on the offensive side of the ball trying to make stuff happen.
Man, you and FanDuel a trip. I can't believe they didn't put that a bet on that. You know what I mean? Like that's easy money. That's like who's going to win in the fight between Mike Tyson and Robbie Downey Jr. You know what I mean? Like, that's cold, man. Right. So yeah, I agree on all points, man. I think that the biggest takeaway you get out of this game is seeing how the young guys play. Johnny, how does he do against the NBA competition coming into this season? So it's gonna be a fun game to watch, man. Because like I said, as an NBA fan. Yeah, I'm looking at my guys, but Brandon Miller, man, a lot of people thought that he could have been the guy at number one if it wasn't Wembanyama in the draft. A lot of people said Scoot, but Brandon Miller had a lot of buzz. So, and Nick Smith Jr. coming out of Arkansas, man, combo guard. Now, I'm intrigued to see him play too, man. So, yeah, it's gonna be a fun game to watch, but definitely tune in tomorrow night, y'all, because it's the second preseason game, the second out of 4. So we'll see what our Wiz kids can do, and we'll go from there. So again, after the game, we will be doing a live stream video to chop it up with you guys to celebrate or cry, depending on the result. So definitely tune in and chop it up with your boys. But we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Definitely appreciate everybody showing up tonight, showing us some love as usual. We appreciate you guys. Wherever you get your podcast, 5-star review is much appreciated. On the YouTube side of things, like, subscribe, definitely comment below. Let us know what you guys think. So again, appreciate you guys. Hail to the Wizards and peace. See you guys next time.